I stood in the back of St. Michael's Church, watching 200 guests fill the pews, and allowed myself a moment of pure pride. The ivory roses I had chosen cascaded down every aisle. The string quartet played softly in the corner. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, painting everything in shades of gold and crimson. My daughter Ashley was getting married today. My baby girl, who I had raised alone after her father walked out when she was 3 years old, was about to become someone's wife. "Diane, you did an amazing job," Gloria whispered beside me, squeezing my hand. My best friend had been with me through every step of this journey. "This place looks like something out of a magazine." I nodded, too emotional to speak. It did look perfect, because I had made it perfect. I had worked double shifts for 6 months to pay for this day. I had sacrificed my vacation time, my weekends, my savings. But seeing Ashley's vision come to life made every sacrifice worth it. The invoice sat in my purse. $50,000, every penny I had saved for my retirement gone. The venue alone had cost $15,000. The catering, $12,000. Ashley's dress, $8,000 for the custom Vera Wang she had insisted on. The flowers, the music, the photographer, the videographer, the 7-tier cake that cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. But she was my only child. My everything. After her father left, it had been just the two of us against the world. I had worked myself to the bone as a nurse, pulling double shifts, taking extra overtime, all to give her the life she deserved. Dance lessons, private school, college tuition, a car for her 16th birthday. Everything I never had growing up. And now, watching her marry Marcus Bennett, a successful investment banker who treated her like a queen. I felt like every sacrifice had led to this perfect moment. "There she is," Gloria said. And I turned to see Ashley in the bride's room doorway. My breath caught. She looked absolutely stunning. The Vera Wang gown hugged her curves perfectly, the train flowing behind her like a river of silk. Her dark skin glowed against the white fabric. Her hair was swept up in an elegant updo, with small white roses woven through the curls. She looked like a princess, but something in her eyes made me pause. She wasn't glowing with happiness. She looked nervous, almost guilty. "Baby, you look beautiful," I said, walking over to embrace her. "Are you ready?" "Mom, I need to talk to you," Ashley said, her voice tight. "Honey, the ceremony starts in 10 minutes. "Whatever it is can wait until after, can't it?" She opened her mouth, then closed it. Yeah, it can wait. "Are you having cold feet?" I asked gently. "That's normal. I remember when I married your father, I was so nervous I thought I might pass out." "It's not that," Ashley said, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. "Ashley, if you're not sure about this, we can postpone. I know I spent a lot of money, but your happiness is more important than any wedding." "No," she said quickly. Too quickly. "No, I want to get married today." "I'm sure about that." The wedding coordinator poked her head in. "Mrs. Williams, we're ready to start." I gave Ashley one more hug. "I love you, baby. I'm so proud of the woman you've become." She hugged me back hard, almost desperately. "I love you too, Mom." I took my seat in the front pew, right side, alone. The groom's side was packed with Marcus's large family. His mother, elegant in purple, sat with at least 20 relatives filling the rows behind her. My side had Gloria, a few cousins I barely spoke to, and some neighbors who had come out of politeness. It had always been this way. Just Ashley and me. No big family gatherings, no aunts and uncles dropping by. Just us. The music changed to the wedding march. Everyone stood. The doors at the back of the church opened, and there was Ashley, walking down the aisle alone because she had insisted she didn't want anyone to give her away. "I'm giving myself away, Mom," she had said. "I'm a modern woman. I don't need a man to hand me off like property." I had been proud of her independence, even though part of me had wanted to walk her down that aisle myself. Ashley moved slowly toward the altar where Marcus stood in his perfectly tailored tuxedo. He was handsome, I had to admit. Tall, well-built, with a smile that could light up a room. He came from money, old money, the kind Ashley and I had never known. When Ashley reached the altar, she and Marcus joined hands. Reverend Johnson, a kind older man who had baptized Ashley when she was 6, opened his Bible. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Ashley Marie Williams and Marcus Anthony Bennett in holy matrimony. I smiled through my tears. This was it. The moment I had been working toward for 26 years. Seeing my daughter happy, settled, loved. Marriage is not to be entered into lightly, Reverend Johnson continued. It is a sacred bond, a commitment before God and these witnesses to love, honor, and cherish one another for all the days of your lives. Ashley shifted her weight. Marcus squeezed her hand. If anyone here has any reason why these two should not be joined in marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace. It was a formality. No one ever actually objected at weddings. That only happened in movies. But then Ashley spoke. I do. The church went silent. Reverend Johnson looked confused. I'm sorry, dear, what did you say? I said I do. Ashley's voice was louder now, clearer. I have a reason why we shouldn't get married. My heart stopped. Marcus's eyes went wide. The entire church held its breath. Ashley, what are you doing? Marcus hissed. I'm telling the truth, Ashley said. She turned to face the congregation, still holding Marcus's hand. This wedding is a fraud. Marcus and I aren't in love. We never were, gasps rippled through the crowd. I stood up without realizing it. Ashley, stop talking, Marcus said, his voice tight with panic. But Ashley kept going. We planned this whole thing. The relationship, the engagement, the wedding, all of it was fake. We did it to get my mother's money. The words hit me like a physical blow. I gripped the pew in front of me to keep from falling. See, Mom, Ashley continued, looking directly at me now. Marcus and I met at a bar 2 years ago. We got to talking about our situations. He had family debts he needed to hide from his parents. I had Brandon. Who's Brandon? Someone in the crowd asked. As if on cue, a young man stood up from the groom's side. Tall, dark-skinned, wearing jeans and a hoodie instead of formal attire. He walked to the altar and put his arm around Ashley's waist. I'm Brandon, he said. Ashley's real boyfriend. We've been together for 5 years. The church erupted. People were shouting, standing up, demanding explanations. Reverend Johnson looked like he might faint. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what was happening. Mom wouldn't approve of Brandon, Ashley continued, her voice cutting through the chaos. He's a musician. He doesn't have a college degree or a fancy job. He's not the son-in-law she always dreamed of. So when Marcus suggested we fake a relationship, get married, split your wedding money, and then divorce quietly a few weeks later, it seemed perfect. Ashley, shut up, Marcus begged. His face had gone pale. His mother was standing now, screaming at him in what sounded like Italian. The plan was simple, Ashley said, and there was something almost proud in her voice, like she was describing a clever heist. Marcus needed $50,000 to pay off his gambling debts before his family found out. I needed money to fund Brandon's music career. You were the perfect Mark, Mom. You'd give me anything I asked for. Mark. She had called me a mark. Like I was a victim in a con game. Like I was some stranger on the street, not the woman who had given her life. So we dated for 2 years, Ashley continued. Long enough to seem real. Marcus played the perfect boyfriend. Flowers, dinners, meeting you for Sunday brunches. He was very convincing, wasn't he, Mom? I still couldn't speak. My legs felt like they might give out. Then the engagement. The ring was fake, by the way. Cubic zirconia. Cost Marcus $200. But you thought it was real, so you started talking about the wedding budget. At first you said $10,000. That wasn't enough for our plan. So I started sending you pictures of dream weddings. Venues, dresses, flowers. Every time you tried to suggest something cheaper, I'd cry about how this was my only wedding, how I deserved a perfect day. She had manipulated me. Every tear, every plea, every moment of excitement had been calculated. You took on extra shifts, Ashley said. You called me from the hospital on your breaks, asking about cake flavors and invitation designs. You were so happy to be planning this wedding, and all I could think about was how much money you were spending. $50,000. That's what we needed, and that's exactly what you gave us. Ashley, please stop, I finally managed to say. My voice sounded strange, hollow. Why are you doing this? Because, Mom, I wanted you to know the truth. You deserve to know that every moment of the past 2 years was a lie. Every I love Marcus was fake. Every time I brought him to your house for dinner, every photo I posted on social media, every conversation about our future together, it was all an act. Brandon pulled Ashley closer. And now that we have your money, Ash and I are going to Los Angeles. I got a record deal. Well, I will get a record deal once we have the cash to pay for studio time and promotion. You're not taking that money, Marcus's mother shouted from her pew. She was a large woman in her 60s, elegant even in her rage. Marcus, tell them. Tell them you're not going through with this insane plan. Marcus looked at his mother, then at Ashley, then at me. I'm sorry, Mother, but I need that money. The people I owe aren't the kind who accept late payments. You have a gambling problem? His mother shrieked. Since when? Since college, Marcus admitted. I've been hiding it for years. This was supposed to solve everything. Marry Ashley, split the wedding money, divorce quietly, pay off my debts, and no one would ever know. But everyone knew now. 200 people were watching this family implode in real time. I finally found my voice. So you were going to get married today, take the money, and then what? Divorce next month? Next week, actually, Ashley said. Quick and clean. No-fault divorce. We'd split the money down the middle, $25,000 each, and go our separate ways. You'd never have to know the marriage was fake. But I changed the plan, Brandon interjected. And there was an edge to his voice that made me think this wasn't a united decision. I told Ashley we should just take the money and leave. Why go through with a fake marriage when we already have what we need? And I agreed, Ashley said. So here we are. The truth is out. You spent $50,000 on a wedding that's not going to happen, for a relationship that was never real. She smiled. Actually smiled. Like this was amusing. Like destroying her mother in front of 200 people was entertaining. But hey, Mom, look at the bright side. At least I'm being honest now, right? Isn't honesty what you always taught me was most important? The cruelty in her voice broke something inside me. This wasn't my daughter. This wasn't the little girl I had raised, the one I had sacrificed everything for. This was a stranger wearing Ashley's face. How could you do this? I whispered. How could you look me in the eye every day for 2 years and lie? It was surprisingly easy, Ashley said with a shrug. You wanted to believe I was happy. You wanted to believe I'd found a good man who would take care of me. It's what you always wanted for me, right? To do better than you did? The insult landed like a slap. To do better than I did, as if my life, my struggles, my sacrifices meant nothing. I gave you everything, I said, my voice rising. Everything I had, every dollar I saved, every extra shift I worked, every dream I put aside, all for you. And I appreciate that, Mom, I really do. But appreciation doesn't pay the bills. Brandon's career needs funding. And you were the easiest way to get it. Gloria stood up beside me. Ashley Williams, you should be ashamed of yourself. Your mother worked herself half to death for this wedding, which is why I feel a little bad, Ashley admitted. But not bad enough to change my mind. Come on, Brandon. Let's go. They started walking down the aisle right past me. Ashley didn't even look at me as she passed. Marcus stood alone at the altar, his perfect facade crumbling. His mother was crying now, demanding answers. The guests were in chaos, some shouting, some filming on their phones, some just sitting in shocked silence. Reverend Johnson touched my arm. Mrs. Williams, I am so sorry. In 40 years of performing marriages, I have never witnessed anything like this. I watched Ashley and Brandon reach the church doors. She was still in her wedding dress, her train dragging on the ground. They paused at the exit, and Ashley turned back one last time. Oh, and Mom? The dress is mine. I'm keeping it. Consider it payment for 26 years of unconditional love. Then they were gone. I stood in the ruins of my daughter's wedding, surrounded by strangers and broken dreams, and felt something inside me die. The church emptied slowly, people didn't know what to do with themselves after what they had witnessed. Some offered condolences as they passed, their faces full of pity that made me want to scream. Others avoided eye contact entirely, hurrying out as if my humiliation might be contagious. Marcus still stood at the altar, his mother gripping his arm and hissing furiously in Italian. When she finally dragged him past me, she stopped. "Mrs. Williams, I had no idea my son was capable of this," she said, tears streaming down her carefully made-up face. "If I had known, I would have stopped it." "I swear to you," I nodded numbly. What was there to say? Gloria stayed by my side as the venue cleared. The caterers were already packing up the untouched food. The photographer was breaking down his equipment, looking uncomfortable. The 7-tier cake sat pristine and perfect, a monument to my foolishness. "Diane," Gloria said softly, "we should go." "I paid for this venue until midnight," I heard myself say. "I should stay. I paid for it. Honey, you don't need to torture yourself." But I couldn't move. I stood there staring at the altar where my daughter had destroyed me, trying to understand how I had missed the signs. Had there been signs? There must have been. I thought back over the past 2 years. Ashley bringing Marcus to Sunday dinners. He had been charming, polite, asking about my work at the hospital, complimenting my cooking. Had it all been an act? Every smile, every "thank you, Mrs. Williams," every time he helped clear the dishes? And Ashley, my baby girl. Had she really looked me in the eye for 2 years while planning this betrayal? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mom, it's Ashley. I know you're mad, but I need the wedding money transferred to my account by Monday. Marcus and I already agreed on the split. Brandon and I are leaving for LA on Tuesday." She wanted the money. After everything, she actually wanted the money. My hands shook as I typed back, "There is no money. I spent it all on the wedding." The reply came instantly. "Don't lie. You didn't pay the vendors yet." I checked. "You have 50 KLA sitting in your account waiting for the final payments." "I need it." She had checked my account? How did she even have access? Another text. "I've had your bank login since I was 18, Mom. How do you think I knew exactly how much you had saved? Transfer the money or I'll transfer it myself." Gloria read the texts over my shoulder. "That little—" "She can't access my account," I said, suddenly panicking. "Can she? Just because she knows the password?" "Call your bank now. Change everything," I called, hands trembling so hard I could barely dial. The automated system led me through security questions, and finally a human voice answered. "First National Bank. This is Derek speaking. How can I help you? I need to lock my account immediately. My daughter has my password and I think she's going to try to steal my money." "I understand, ma'am." "Let me pull up your account. Can you verify your social security number?" I recited it, then my birth date, my address, every piece of information they asked for. "Okay, Mrs. Williams. I'm looking at your account now. I see a transfer was initiated about 15 minutes ago. $50,000 to an account belonging to Ashley Williams." My stomach dropped. "Can you stop it?" "Let me check." "I'm sorry, ma'am. The transfer has already been processed. The funds left your account at 3:47 p.m. I looked at my watch. It was 4:15. While I had been standing in this church, grieving my daughter's betrayal, she had been stealing my money. How? She's not authorized on my account. According to our records, the transfer was made through your online banking portal using your username and password. The system has no way of knowing who physically entered the credentials. But I didn't authorize it. That's theft. You'll need to file a police report, ma'am. If you can prove the transfer was fraudulent, the bank can work with law enforcement to recover the funds. But I have to tell you, cases like this are difficult when the unauthorized user is a family member who had legitimate access to your credentials. After I hung up, I sat down in a pew, my legs finally giving out. $50,000. Gone. Not spent on a wedding that didn't happen, but stolen by my own daughter. "We're going to the police," Gloria said. "Right now." The police station was in the old part of town, a squat brick building that always smelled like coffee and floor cleaner. The officer at the front desk looked bored until I explained what had happened. Then he looked uncomfortable. "Ma'am, I'm going to connect you with Detective Martinez. She handles financial crimes." Detective Martinez was a woman in her 40s with tired eyes and a kind smile. She listened to my story in a small interview room, taking notes. "Mrs. Williams, I want to be straight with you," she said when I finished. "Cases like this are complicated. Your daughter had your banking credentials with your knowledge. You gave them to her when she was 18? Yes, but for emergencies. Not to steal from me, I understand. But proving theft is going to be difficult. She'll argue you gave her access voluntarily, that you knew she used your account. A good defense attorney will paint this as a family dispute, not a crime. She stole $50,000. She used credentials you provided to access an account she'd been accessing for years. I'm not saying it's right, Mrs. Williams. I'm saying it's complicated. So she just gets away with it? I'll file a report. We'll investigate, but I want you to be prepared for the possibility that this doesn't result in criminal charges. Your best bet might be civil court. Sue her for the money." Gloria drove me home in silence. My house felt empty and cold. I had left that morning full of joy, ready to watch my daughter get married. Now, I returned to a dark house with $50,000 stolen and no daughter at all. I sat at my kitchen table and pulled out my phone. Against my better judgment, I called Ashley's number. She answered on the second ring. "Finally calling to yell at me? Why?" The word came out as barely a whisper. "Why would you do this to me?" "I told you why. Brandon needs funding for his career. You could have asked me for help. You didn't have to lie for 2 years. You didn't have to humiliate me in front of 200 people. Would you have given me $50,000 if I'd asked? Be honest, I thought about it. Probably not that much. But I would have helped you find another way, see? That's the problem. You would have wanted control. You would have had conditions. This way, the money is mine free and clear. That money was supposed to last me through retirement. I'm 52 years old, Ashley. I can't work double shifts forever. You'll be fine. You're a nurse. You can always pick up more hours. The casual cruelty of it took my breath away. When did you become this person? I've always been this person, Mom. You just never wanted to see it. You wanted to see a grateful daughter who appreciated your sacrifices. But the truth is, I resented them. Every time you worked late, every time you missed one of my events because you were covering someone's shift, every time you reminded me how hard you worked for me, I resented it more. I worked hard so you could have opportunities I never had. No, you worked hard so I would owe you. Every sacrifice came with strings attached. Every gift came with expectations. Well, guess what? I'm cutting the strings. By stealing from me? By taking what I deserved. You spent my whole childhood making me feel guilty for existing. Look what I gave up for you. Look how hard I work for you. Well, now I'm collecting payment for 26 years of emotional manipulation. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I never manipulated you. I loved you. Your version of love felt like a prison. Brandon loves me without conditions, without expectations, without constantly reminding me what he's sacrificed. Brandon convinced you to con your own mother out of $50,000. Brandon showed me how to be free. And you know what? I feel lighter than I have in years. No more pretending to be the daughter you wanted. No more living up to your impossible standards. I'm finally myself. The person you are is a thief and a liar. Maybe. But at least I'm honest about it now. She paused. Look, Mom, I don't expect you to understand. But try to see this from my perspective. You had your chance at life. You made your choices. Now it's my turn. My choices were all about you. Exactly. And that's not healthy, Mom. You made me your whole life, and that's too much pressure for one person to carry. I had to break free. So you destroyed me to free yourself? I did what I had to do. And honestly, you'll probably be better off in the long run. Now you can live for yourself instead of living through me. The line went dead. I sat in my dark kitchen, phone still pressed to my ear, and something inside me shifted. The grief was still there, the betrayal, the shock. But underneath it all, a cold anger was forming. Ashley thought she had won. She had the money, her freedom, her Brandon. She thought I would just accept this, move on, maybe work a few more years to rebuild my savings. She was wrong. The next morning, I called Mr. Lewis, the attorney who had handled my will years ago. Mrs. Williams? I heard what happened, he said, his voice full of sympathy. I'm so sorry. That must have been devastating. I want to sue her. For emotional distress, for the money, for everything. I understand, but I need to be honest with you about your chances. Civil suits against family members are difficult and expensive. The emotional distress claim is almost impossible to prove financially. And the money transfer issue is complicated by the fact that she had your credentials. So she just gets away with it? Not necessarily. There are other options. Tell me, Mrs. Williams, do you have a will? Yes, Ashley is my sole beneficiary. Change it, immediately. Leave everything to charity, to Gloria, to anyone but Ashley. She may have your wedding money, but she won't get anything else. She doesn't expect anything else. She thinks I'm broke now. Mr. Lewis was quiet for a moment. Are you? Broke? Almost. I have about $3,000 in savings in my house. The house you own outright? Yes. I paid off the mortgage 5 years ago. Mrs. Williams, your house is worth what? $200,000? Maybe more? Around that. Then you're not broke. You have assets. And more importantly, you have leverage. I didn't understand what he meant until he explained his plan. It was devious. It was perfect. And it would require me to be patient. Here's what we're going to do, Mr. Lewis said. First, we change your will. Everything goes to charity. Second, you're going to let Ashley think she won. Don't call her. Don't text her. Let her go to Los Angeles and live her life. Let her spend that money on Brandon's music career. Why would I do that? Because money runs out, Mrs. Williams. Especially money spent by people who've never learned to manage it. Give them 6 months, maybe a year. They'll burn through $50,000 faster than you think. And when they do, when Ashley realizes she has nothing left and Brandon's career hasn't taken off, she'll come back. I don't want her back. I know. But she doesn't know that. She'll come back expecting forgiveness, expecting you to bail her out like you always have. And that's when you tell her no. That's when she learns the real cost of what she did. What if she doesn't come back? Then you've lost a daughter who was never really yours to begin with. But either way, you start rebuilding your life for yourself, not for her. I thought about it. Part of me wanted immediate revenge, wanted to see Ashley face consequences now. But Mr. Lewis was right. The sweetest revenge would be letting her fail on her own and refusing to save her. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Over the next week, I changed everything. My will, my insurance beneficiaries, even my emergency contacts. I removed Ashley from every document that connected us financially. I also started therapy. My first session, I cried for the full hour. Dr. Morrison, a gentle woman with gray dreadlocks, let me talk without interruption. Your daughter's betrayal is profound, she said when I finally stopped. But I want you to consider something. This pain you're feeling, it's not just about the wedding or the money. It's about realizing that the person you thought you knew was never real. How do I move past that? You grieve. You let yourself feel angry, betrayed, sad, all of it. And then you start asking yourself hard questions. Like why you tied your entire identity to being Ashley's mother. Like what dreams you gave up that had nothing to do with her. Over the following weeks, I did exactly that. I grieved. And in grieving, I started to see clearly, Ashley was right about one thing. I had made her my entire life. After her father left, I had poured everything into her. Every sacrifice, every extra shift, every dollar had been about giving her more. And somewhere in that process, I had lost myself. Who was I without being Ashley's mother? What did I want that had nothing to do with her? The questions terrified me because I didn't have answers. But slowly, I started to find them. 6 months passed. I didn't hear from Ashley once. No calls, no texts, not even a social media post. She had vanished into Los Angeles with Brandon and my $50,000, leaving nothing behind but silence. I used that silence to rebuild. Dr. Morrison helped me see that I had spent 26 years living for someone else. Now, for the first time since Ashley was born, I had to figure out who Diane Williams was when she wasn't being a mother. I started small. I took a pottery class at the community center, something I had always wanted to try but never had time for. My first bowl was lopsided and cracked in the kiln, but I didn't care. I had made something with my own hands that had nothing to do with anyone else. I joined a book club with Gloria. We read novels I would never have picked for myself and argued about themes and characters over wine. I laughed more in those evenings than I had in years. I even went on a date. Just one, with a kind radiology technician from the hospital named Michael. It didn't lead anywhere, but it reminded me that I was still a woman with desires and dreams beyond motherhood, and slowly, painfully, I started to heal. But healing didn't mean forgetting. Every night I wondered about Ashley. Was she happy? Was Brandon's music career taking off? Had the $50,000 been enough? The answer came on a Tuesday in March, 7 months after the wedding that never happened. My phone rang at 2 a.m. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered, "Mom?" Ashley's voice was small, broken. "Mom, please don't hang up." I sat up in bed, heart pounding. "What do you want?" "I need help." "We're in trouble." "Bad trouble. Where are you?" "Still in LA. But Mom, everything fell apart." Brandon's music career never happened. The record labels all passed. The $50,000 is gone. We spent it all on studio time and promotion that went nowhere. I waited. I knew there was more. And Brandon, "Mom, he's not who I thought he was. He's been cheating on me. With multiple women. I found out last week when one of them showed up at our apartment demanding money." "Money for what?" "He promised her a cut of his record deal. Except there is no record deal. He promised a lot of people a lot of things, and now they all want their money. We have people showing up at our door threatening us. We got evicted last week. We've been sleeping in Brandon's car. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated. She had betrayed me, stolen from me, humiliated me, and now karma had come for her. But the part of me that was still her mother just felt sad. "Why are you calling me?" "Because I need help getting home. I need money for a bus ticket. Just enough to get back, and then I'll stay with a friend until I can figure things out." "You have friends who will take you in?" Silence. "No, not really. But maybe I can find somewhere." "Ashley, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Are you calling because you're sorry or because you're desperate?" More silence. Then quietly, "Both." At least she was being honest. "I don't have money to send you," I said. "You took everything I saved. I'm living paycheck to paycheck now. Please, Mom, I'm begging you." "I made a mistake. A huge mistake, but I'm still your daughter. Are you sorry for what you did? Or are you sorry you got caught?" "What?" "At the wedding you said you wanted me to know the truth. You seemed proud of yourself, like you'd pulled off some clever trick. So I need to know, Ashley. Are you actually sorry? Or are you just in trouble and I'm your only option?" She was crying now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was angry and stupid, and I let Brandon convince me that you deserved it. But you didn't. You never deserved what I did to you. What did I do to make you so angry?" "Nothing." "That's the thing. You did nothing wrong. You were a good mother. The best mother, and I threw it in your face because Brandon made me feel like being loved by you was somehow weak." "Did he tell you that?" "All the time. He said you were controlling me with your generosity. That every gift came with strings. He made me see everything you did through this twisted lens where love looked like manipulation." I closed my eyes. "And you believed him." "I wanted to believe him, because believing him meant I wasn't the bad person for taking your money. It meant I was just escaping from someone who was holding me back. But now I see the truth. You weren't holding me back. You were holding me up. And the second I pushed you away, I fell. I wanted to believe her. God, how I wanted to believe her." But Mr. Lewis's words echoed in my mind. "Let her fail. Let her learn. Ashley, I can't help you." "What?" "I don't have the money, and even if I did, I wouldn't send it. You need to figure this out on your own." "Mom, please. I'm sleeping in a car. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I have nothing. You had $50,000. What happened to it? I told you we spent it on Brandon's career. No, Brandon spent it on Brandon's career. What did you spend your half on? Silence. Ashley, you were supposed to get $25,000. What happened to your share? Brandon convinced me to invest it all in his music. He said when he made it big, we'd both be rich. So you gave him everything. He said he loved me. He said we were partners. I trusted him, just like she had betrayed my trust. The irony wasn't lost on me. Where's Brandon now? Gone. He left 3 days ago. Took what little we had left and disappeared. I haven't heard from him since. So she was truly alone now. No mother, no boyfriend, no money, no home. I'm sorry this happened to you, Ashley. I really am. But I can't help you. So you're just going to let me be homeless? You're 26 years old. You made choices. Now you live with the consequences. I'm your daughter. You stopped being my daughter when you stood at that altar and told 200 people that our entire relationship was manipulation. You made your choice. You chose Brandon over me. You chose money over me. Now you live with that choice. I was wrong. I admitted I was wrong. Being wrong isn't enough. Being sorry isn't enough. You destroyed me, Ashley. You took everything I had, everything I worked for, and you threw it away on a man who didn't even love you. And now you want me to save you from the consequences. Yes, because that's what mothers do. No, mothers love their children. They sacrifice for them. They give them everything. I did all that. And you used it against me? You weaponized my love and turned it into something ugly. I could hear her sobbing on the other end of the line. What am I supposed to do? She whispered. What I did when your father left. What I did every day for 26 years. You survive. You figure it out. You work hard. You rebuild. And you do it alone. Because that's the price of burning your bridges. I hate you. No, you don't. You hate that I'm not saving you. But that's not the same thing. She hung up. I sat in my dark bedroom, phone still in my hand, and felt nothing. No guilt, no regret, no second thoughts. Just a quiet certainty that I had done the right thing. The next morning, I told Dr. Morrison about the call. How do you feel about your decision? She asked. Certain. For the first time in months, I feel absolutely certain. Good. Because that was an incredibly difficult boundary to set. Most parents in your position would have given in. Part of me wanted to. Part of me still wants to. The part that loves her. Yes. That part will always be there, Diane. But love doesn't mean rescuing someone from consequences they brought on themselves. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let them fall. 3 weeks later, I got a call from a homeless shelter in Los Angeles. Ashley had listed me as her emergency contact when she checked in. We wanted to inform you that your daughter is safe, the woman on the phone said. She's staying with us temporarily while she works with a social worker to find employment and housing. Is she okay? Physically, yes. Emotionally, she's struggling. But she's getting help. Would you like me to pass along a message? I thought about it. What was there to say? Tell her I hope she finds what she's looking for. And tell her that when she's ready to truly apologize, not because she needs something, but because she means it, I'll listen. I'll tell her. 4 months after that call, Ashley sent me a letter. An actual letter, handwritten on lined paper. Dear Mom, I'm writing this from my new apartment. It's small, just a studio in a not great neighborhood, but it's mine. I got a job waitressing, and I'm taking online classes to finish my degree. I'm not writing to ask for anything. I'm writing because my therapist says I need to take responsibility for what I did. So here it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I lied to you for 2 years. I'm sorry I stole your money. I'm sorry I humiliated you in front of everyone you knew. I'm sorry I said cruel things designed to hurt you. I'm sorry I threw away 26 years of love for $50,000 and a man who didn't deserve either of us. You were right about Brandon. You were right about everything. And I was too proud and too stupid to see it until it was too late. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to want a relationship with me. I just needed you to know that I finally understand what I did. I understand that you weren't manipulating me or controlling me. You were loving me the only way you knew how, and I betrayed that love in the worst way possible. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be the person you raised me to be. It's hard, and some days I fail. But I'm trying. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. But if you don't, I understand. Love. Ashley, I read the letter 3 times. Then I called Mr. Lewis. She wrote to you, he said. It wasn't a question. Yes. She apologized. Do you believe her? I don't know. Maybe. Does it matter? Only if you want it to. I thought about that. Did I want to forgive Ashley? Did I want her back in my life? I'm not ready yet, I said finally. Maybe someday, but not yet. That's fair. You're allowed to take your time. I didn't respond to Ashley's letter. Not because I was angry, but because I genuinely didn't know what to say. Sorry wasn't enough, but it was also all she could offer, and I wasn't ready to accept it. Instead, I kept building my life. I got promoted at the hospital. I traveled to places I had always wanted to see. I deepened my friendships and discovered hobbies that brought me joy. And slowly, I became someone new. Not the mother who defined herself by her daughter, but a woman who had survived betrayal and come out stronger. A year after the wedding that never happened, I stood in a pottery studio, finishing a vase I had been working on for weeks. It was beautiful, balanced, perfect. I had made it with my own hands, and it belonged only to me. Gloria came by to see it. You've gotten really good at this, she said, admiring the glazed surface. I've had time to practice. Have you thought any more about Ashley's letter? Sometimes. Less than I used to. Do you think you'll ever respond? Maybe, when I'm ready. But I'm not ready yet. What are you waiting for? I thought about that question for a long time. What was I waiting for? For Ashley to prove herself? For enough time to pass that the pain wasn't so fresh? For some sign that forgiveness was the right choice? I'm waiting to stop being angry, I said finally. Not at her, at myself. For not seeing who she was becoming. For making her my entire world. For losing myself in the process of raising her. That's a lot to carry. It is. But I'm learning to put it down. 2 years after the wedding, Ashley sent another letter. This one included photos of her college graduation. She had finished her degree in social work and gotten a job at a community center helping at-risk youth. I thought you'd want to know, she wrote. I'm using my experience to help kids who are making the same mistakes I did. Maybe some good can come from all the bad. I put the letter and photos in a box with the first letter. Maybe someday I would respond. Maybe someday I would be ready to have a relationship with my daughter again. But that day wasn't today. Today, I was Diane Williams. Not Ashley's mother, but myself. A woman who had loved and lost and survived. A woman who had learned that the strongest thing you can do is let go. My name is Diane Williams. I'm 54 years old. I spent $50,000 on a wedding that never happened. My daughter betrayed me, stole from me, and broke my heart. And I survived. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved, if you've ever given everything only to have it thrown back in your face, know this. You are not defined by what others take from you. You are defined by what you build in the aftermath. What would you do if your own child betrayed you like this? Would you forgive them? Would you let them back into your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched you, please like and subscribe for more real-life stories of survival, strength, and finding yourself after devastating betrayal. Until next time. Remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone face the consequences of their choices. Even when it breaks your heart to do it.